Star Trek books exist in a limbo called Beta Canon, a sandbox where existing shows and films take precedence, and nothing in the stories drastically changes the status quo. Unless you write a work influential enough to inspire multiple generations of creatives that have the power to influence mainline canon, then you have The Final Reflection by John M. Ford. This book follows Vren, an orphan Klingon playing in a live-action version of the game Klingon. His skill impresses Thought Admiral Kethis, head of a house with no heir, so Kethis takes Vren in. Kethis is a tactical genius who teaches Vren well, and Vren quickly rises through the ranks, eventually making it to the Klingon Navy and getting the first letter of his name changed to a K as an honorific. Captain Crane gets a ship, does well with it, and is eventually given the most difficult assignment of his career, a diplomatic escort, bringing a Federation ambassador from Earth to the Klingon homeworld, here called Klinzai. And it's here that he finds friends and enemies in unexpected places. Quick aside on foreheads, I don't think Ford cared. Anyway, Kren is a great character, and the book does a great job at starting to develop the Klingon culture, even if it's not all canon today. There are some time jumps in Kren's story that I would have liked to see filled in a little bit more, and they lead to the story being maybe a bit more disjointed at times than I'd like, but overall, I didn't think it was a big problem. Enjoying this video, why not buy my book? Flight of the Pangolin is the story of an intrepid group of heroes who decide to exit the solar system over the objections of an isolationist faction. There's actually a lot more going on than that. There's space pirates, a giant spider for no reason, all kinds of other things. Buy it now online wherever you buy books or at our website, www.thepangolinrepublic.com. You can also get fun t-shirts and random other stuff if you want. So this book takes place decades before the original series, though there is a framing device where Kirk and his crew are all reading The Final Reflection in-universe, and shows the impact that it's having on the crew. Because Ford was drawing on a lot of FASA role-playing materials for Klingon lore, a lot of what's depicted here has been superseded by canon, but not as much as you'd think. The book is highly regarded by a lot of people, including Ronald D. Moore, who lifted the feudal house social structure. Can you say that 10 times fast? Feudal house social structure? Who writes this stuff? Who lifted the feudal house social structure when he was shading in the Klingons on TNG. In fact, I'd say that the only big omission this book misses is the Klingon infatuation with honor, and I'm almost willing to chalk that whole idea up to our getting most Klingon lore from Worf's viewpoint, with his outsider's obsession with honor that frankly doesn't seem to be all that big a deal to the day-to-day lives of the average Klingon portrayed on TNG.
You admit the truth, and yet expect him to accept punishment? What does this say of an empire who holds honor so dear?
The empire will not be destroyed for one family's honor.
Unacceptable, Kempok!
I can see some people having issues with the way the Federation, and specifically Earth, are depicted in this book, even if it does take place decades before the original series. There's some almost Section 31 type stuff going on in the background here, and a rich, influential isolationist from Atlanta who is not interested in peace with the Klingons. These things could be chalked up to being in the early days of the Federation, or just Star Trek in general, or just issues to be ironed out over time. They don't bother me, but I can definitely see how some people might take exception to them. There's some nuance to the way Star Trek depicts utopia. I should probably do a video on it, since some people don't seem to get it. While the last book I read by John M. Ford, How Much for Just the Planet, had a humorous bent to it, this book is far more straightforward. They're not without its amusing moments. On the other hand, some of the names are unintentionally hilarious. Kethis' consort is literally named Rogaine, and there's a Klingon intelligence guy named Meth. So that's fun. Overall, I like this book a lot. It's probably essential reading for anyone interested in Klingon lore, especially if they want to go all the way back. Even if it isn't up to code canon-wise, it's got a lot of stuff for archaeological interest, and it's a really good Klingon story. So those are my thoughts on The Final Reflection. Let me know what you think of the book in the comments. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you somewhere in the middle? I thought it was pretty great. Anyway, that's enough for now. See you next time!